So I
But
think Rock Company was...
yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so I remember going to Torana in Majestic City and buying your album, the Vedana album.
Wow.
It was called Vedana, right? Pain.
Yes.
Ege, how did that happen that you recorded with Torana?
Well, this is how it happened. Ajit wanted us to record our tracks, and we only had few tracks which we had recorded, and that was also in the Anand Samarkon studio.
Right.
So when I tell you recordings at Anand Samarkon studio, that's where I had the passion to learn sound engineering, because there I got my first foundation to record on analog tapes, and surprisingly the crew there was really friendly towards us because they knew the background we came from. And so doing shows there and all that, I showed these recordings to Ajit, and Ajit was like, "Is this, like you guys sound, when you're alive, you sound like monsters. What the hell? What the hell are these recordings? Like." It's like, Ajit, I'm not a recording artist. This is what we know and this is what we can do.
Right.
So he was like, "Okay, you should, get a record deal. You should, because we were singing Sinhalese rock music,
Right.
and we had 4 Sri metal tracks, but we weren't calling them Sri metal. In our minds, it was like hard rock metal. We didn't know like whether what this would be, because Ajit only basically listened to it and kind of like gave me a foundation, like saying, do more of these, because you're the only band who can do this, with this kind of music, you will actually carve a path for other bands, in the country to kind of like, be popularized, And he was right, and then only he landed the deal with Torana. He actually called Kotalavala, and he wanted us to do an audition tape, and he told me to give the audition tape, not the recordings we recorded at the Anand Samarkon studio, but to put a microphone at our practice studio and just record and give that as a demo. Actually, that sounded really heavy. That sound, like we just put one mic where we were practicing in the middle, and we had few speakers for my vocals and all that. We recorded it to a small, our desktop computer, and we had an audio file of a set of like 1 hour, completely original music, everything to the bone. So that was sent to Torana, and then suddenly we got a meeting with Kotalavala, and yeah, and it took shape, and then we were given 1 week to record and to produce this album, and within 3 weeks they will start printing, like everything else. So knowing what we, like, even so I went to my dad, like, and first told him about it, and I gave him the honor of actually drawing the artwork for it. So I told him, like, this is the kind of artwork, and then we decided, like, we had a song called Vedana, which was like a very famous track at that time. And everybody, like, knew the lyrics, even though we hadn't put out the lyrics, because it was such a catchy song. People really loved it, like, and so we kind of like based the concept with pain. So I gave my dad the idea of, let's draw the artwork. So he compiled the artwork according to what I conceptualized. And from there, we did recordings for 1 week, and we scratched certain songs off, and we, and that happened. But the sound we wanted did not actually come out in the first album, because we did a mix. We took references. We took, like the Pantera drum sound and guitar tones as a reference to, because it was mixed by local engineers. So you have to understand, Torana was a record label. It's a very renowned record label, and they were very talented sound engineers. But something Sri Lanka needs to learn at that time also, we didn't know, was you can be a sound engineer, but if you don't know the genre of music that you are influenced with, no matter how good of a sound engineer you are or technical you have, you would not know how to get that sound out. So we kind of like did the mix down for Pain, the whole album, with the engineers, which Kotalavala did not like. He was like, guitars are too loud, drums are like too much compression, and like, but this is the sound. And even, like, So they disagreed and they told their sound engineers to do, you know, their version of it, which was, like, but I wasn't personally happy with it. Neither are man members also. And then, yeah, we had to uh, anyway go with it. We were paid some of money, like 25,000 rupees each for like 2 weeks time, altogether 150,000 rupees. And he kind of like got the rights to it, like all that. So we only own the writing copyrights for it, the lyrics and all that, but the music copyrights for those versions was Torana's. So we couldn't do much then. We were also naive, like we were learning. We didn't know about what a record deal should be like, So we went with that, and we never even cared about, taking a sum from the CD sales. That's our biggest mistake. We only settled for like 400 copies that was just given to us to do our whatever promotion, and they printed about 7,000 CDs, and they sent it all around, and it was, and even cassettes. So, but we weren't happy with the sound they had. But then they cut the glass master, and then we listened to it, and it was like horrible. And we begged, we shouted, we argued, but still, like they weren't doing it. And that's when I decided then and there that I'm going to become a sound engineer. I'm going to become a sound engineer, and I'm going to learn this professionally, so that I can make my sound, like, so that I don't have to like bend over to any of these, mediocrity and actually learn it properly. So then only, that influenced that. So pain, that's how pain came out, and then it made a difference, like we sold a lot of albums not without even having a single, you know, TV advertisement or any ad, but we had some good PR going on. There were a lot of people in the Western music industry who were on newspapers, who were journalists, who were writing about us, like Rukasa Hassan, and there's so many, writers who actually wrote about us, But
Right.
internet, we weren't that big on the internet, anything. But pain was, that's how pain started, and that's the ground story to that.
But it was a big deal because when I walked into Torana, you had like Clarence, Milton, then Whirlwind like on the same shelf. Right?
Yeah, yeah, that was pretty neat. I mean, that was the first ever stream metal album, Then only we kind of like named our genre stream metal,
Right.
because after we got the Glassmaster, the copy, we went and sat with Mr. Ajit because he gave us the deal, right? So it was, like we wanted to kind of like lend his, but we had our version also. We had copied to a CD. So we gave him that version, and he was very happy with that. And then he was also trying to talk to Kotalala to go to the previous sound, which we mixed, but it never happened. But when we listened to it, he was like, man, you guys have a unique sound. And then only I wanted to kind of like, this is, I said to him, this is Ajit, this is stream metal. There are 4 tracks here in this album, and these are the sound of stream metal, and this will be the sound that we will progress, This will be the sound that we'll start working on and more fine tuning, and we will improve more. And I was also learning then,
Hmm.
I was, like so naive, when it came to, my tones and all that. So, like I, mostly digital pedals